Welcome back to another UNC Tar Heel basketball recruiting podcast here on TarHeelIllustrated.com. And if you're watching us on YouTube, our channel, Tar Heel Illustrated. We continue to look at the class of 2021 targets for UNC. Throughout this snapshot series, we've isolated and identified the kids that UNC has offered and a few others that the Tar Heels are targeting. They've had considerable conversations with over the last few months. And joining us, the author of the series, our director of basketball recruiting, Clint Jackson. And Clint, before I dive into Matthew Cleveland, who we're going to focus on today, remind everybody we got a great deal running right now for $49. You get a 1-year subscription to THI, which equates to about $4.16 a month. It's like a cup of coffee, and you also get $49 in UNC Tar Heels gear for free. So basically, we're giving you UNC gear. We're giving you half price so you can read all of Clint's amazing work covering UNC recruiting. So today, Clint, Matthew Cleveland, we are down to our last two kids in the series. Yesterday, we ran a print piece where you gave an evaluation, pulse of the situation, some kind of background info on them. Right now, today, we're going to do the podcast where we do a little bit more. So, in your words, what kind of prospect is Matthew Cleveland?
Well, Matthew Cleveland is, first of all, the biggest thing that jumps off the page with him is his athleticism. He's a 6'6", as you said, 200-pound kid. In fact, talked to his dad yesterday. He said he's 199 pounds, so let's call him 200. He's very broad-shouldered, very sculpted, loves to attack, great transition player. He's a strong rebounder. He's one of those guys that can get the defensive board and go. Definitely one of the guys that you really get excited about when you think about a transition team. There's a lot of schools on him. He's a huge target, ACC, SEC, some national schools. But this is a kid that we saw at USA Basketball, and we really liked him because he made a lot of exciting plays in transition, and boy, he can really jump.
Number 36 player overall nationally in the class, number 8 at his position. You mentioned some of the schools that are after him. He's got Kansas, Auburn, Florida, Michigan, Florida State. He's got some big-time programs that are after him right now. How would a guy like that fit into UNC the way that Roy's teams play?
Well, I see him as a wing forward. I see him as a guy who's going to look good in transition. He's a guy that's going to bring that excitability to the Dean Dome, get everybody out of their seats. A little bit better of a transition player than a half-court player, but he is a good isolated slasher. That's his strength, is getting to the basket, finishing. He is developing as a ball handler, and he's still working on his jump shot. So he's got some things he's still got to clean up there from that standpoint. But, I think he would fit in as a wing athlete and catch alley-oops and, make a lot of exciting plays. I see that's how he would fit in at Carolina if they were to amp up their recruitment and land him.
When I was watching some film of him, a couple of things that jumped out to me was the fact that he's got amazing hang time. He can get up in there and he's very crafty. One time he switched hands, and similar to that famous play that MJ had, I think it was against the Celtics in the playoffs a long time ago. He did something similar to that. And just looks like a really comfortable player, like an unforced type player where whatever he's doing just seems to come very naturally to him. Where do you see his ceiling for a guy like that who already looks like he's very comfortable on the floor and kind of owns the spot he's on?
Well, I think his ceiling is, if he can continue to clean up his ball skills, and his ball skills aren't bad. Just the ball handling and the shooting on the move, catch and shoot, that's going to make him really tough to guard because he is so athletic and quick and explosive. He's just going to be a guy who, like you said, I think you even used the word acrobatic. He is very acrobatic. He is good at attacking the basket, and he's very coachable. So I think his ceiling is very high, and I think he's a guy who can. So he can fit in. Let's be honest, he can fit in a lot of places, not just Carolina. He's got a lot of big time schools, as you mentioned, and one of the ones I think you may have neglected to mention is Georgia Tech as well. They've done a really good job with him as well. But I think you nailed all the other schools: Stanford, Michigan, Auburn, all those schools.
So what is the pulse with Carolina?
I'd be remiss to tell you that this is a major UNC target at this point. I wrote an article a few months ago on him and checked the pulse yesterday with his dad, and he says, look, Carolina hasn't been in touch much. So they did have an assistant call. but they haven't done much follow-up since then. So, when AAU season opens in late June, early July, whenever that is, I wouldn't be surprised to see UNC watch him. But as of right now, I'd probably say that this recruitment between UNC and him is probably lukewarm.
But we've seen in the past where Roy will take a look at a kid kind of late in the cycle for his class, and August would be, and he's obviously seen him before, and then kind of make a push. We saw that with Kerwin Walton last fall. Is that something that you think that they'll kind of determine here whenever things do open, that take a look at him a few more times, and if they like him, they could push hard, or if they don't like him, they just pull back and move on to somebody else?
I think so. That could be the case. We never know with what UNC is doing. They got a lot of other targets at similar positions, so maybe they feel good about another kid. That could be a variable here. They could have fallen in love with somebody else. They could be in a really good seat with another wing. Those things we don't know, but I would be real curious. One of the first things I want to know when AAU opens is, where is Roy Williams and Steve Robinson and those guys? Where are they going to be? Who are they going to be watching?
Yeah, those photographs that we get a lot during the AAU circuit will be really important once things get back into play. He's Clint Jackson, our Director of Basketball Recruiting. I'm Andrew Jones. You've been watching another Class of 2021 Snapshot Series podcast. This one, Matthew Cleveland. We got one more left. Then the series will be over, Clint. It's been a grind. It's been a month-long series. Been fantastic stuff, and I know you're looking forward to stepping into something else. And looking back at this series once we conclude.
To be honest with you, I'm probably going to miss it. I've really enjoyed this. This was a really good idea that you brought to me, and I've really enjoyed doing the pulse and the evaluation. Luckily for me, I've seen almost every one of these kids that we've profiled, and I love talking. So, you finally got me on camera, and I kind of like it now.
Just don't wear the Nationals hats anymore. Dina calls them Wisconsin hats. I
did switch out the hat for you.
Hey, and you got me to wear an Orioles hat on one of these, so I think that worked out okay. He's Clint. I'm AJ. Thanks for stopping by.